There we go. Right. So welcome everybody. Welcome those of you that have just arrived. It's lovely to see you. I'll be keeping an eye on you on my iPad over here. I just need to come and turn this on. Let's do this. Try and change this over. So I'm going to record. There we go. Right. Okay. So coming into onto your mat, standing up as we normally do for first thing in the morning, one foot behind the other and rolling on the top of your toes. Okay, so giving the ankle a swirl in a circle. And as a bit of a guide, if you're doing this practice at home, you would be looking to do about 8 to 10 circles. So go the other direction now. We're just waking up all the joints, starting with the feet, because the feet are our foundation, connecting us to the earth. So they are essentially the most important part of the body. Let's swap feet, swap over and go the other way. And it's quite nice to just wake up all the joints within the feet. Just give them a little bit of space and get used to what we're doing mildly as well, is getting used to standing on one leg. So change direction. So I can't recommend these little joint rotations highly enough, especially if you wake up a little bit achy in the morning. Some mornings I do, some mornings I don't. It's very sporadic at the moment. Okay, so let's take the feet together, big toes together, outside edges of the feet parallel, bending the knees and then circling with just the knees. So take a look down at your feet and really try and keep your feet anchored onto the floor. So looking down, pressing through the big toe joints and the baby toe joint side of the ball of the foot, and then the heels. And it's not as though you're trying to grip the floor for dear life, but do kind of anchor your weight into the earth. So now go the other way, do some circles the other direction. And keep looking at your feet and watching how they're moving in order to cope with this movement that you're taking. And then make sure that the arches of the feet stay lifted, stay away from the floor. All right, and then coming up, give the legs a little bit of a shake. And then back to the same position. Well done, everyone. So back to outside edges of the feet parallel. So that means a little bit of a gap between the heels. Hands just above the knees again, and then you are taking the tailbone in a circle behind you. So imagine that you're drawing on the wall and you're drawing a nice big circular shape behind you. All right. Really start to feel this in the sides of the waist, as well as a little bit of a scooping sensation at the lower part of the abdomen between the pubic bone and the navel. So really good for helping to keep the pelvic floor toned. All right, let's come up to stand. Squeeze the inner thighs together, send the hip bones forwards, lift the heart up, open the arms to the sides, pressing down into the heels and the big toe, baby toe. And then come back down to the knees. And then you went one way, so now go the other. All right. So again, make these circles big and enjoy the sensation of your body moving like this. Maybe looking down at your feet, seeing if you can keep the big toes grounded. See whether that helps you to stabilize this movement. Nice, looking good, ladies, well done. And then coming back up, give the legs a little bit of a shake. And then we'll link the fingers, elbows together. So you're looking like this, elbows are quite high up in front of you. And then the wrists go in a circle. So you're rolling, wrists in a circle. Very nice. Good job. And then let's swing it out. And then let's change the cross of the fingers and do the same thing again. Okay, so really think about the wrists going in circles as well as the pumping up and down action. See if you've got one arm that's more dominant over the other. Lovely. Okay, so swing it out. And then maybe make sure that you're standing long ways on your mat so you've got plenty of space. Take one arm in a backward circle and the other arm in a forward circle. And let this happen, let this keep happening without you having to think too hard about it. Allow the sides of the waist to rock a little bit gently side to side. Very nice. And then swing it out side to side. Maybe turn your toes out slightly, make sure your feet are not too close together. And you can let your head turn to look over your shoulder and be gentle with these initial rotations. Just don't force it, especially the movement of the neck. And enjoy this sense of release and the freedom that this gives. Creates a little bit of lightness and space within your body. All right. So we're going to slow it down. We'll come back to these a little bit in a moment. So with the other arm, go backwards. Let that happen without you having to think about it, so you can take the other arm forwards. If it doesn't quite work out, don't worry. Just do what you can, do what you feel that you're able to do. You're looking good. Well done, everyone. Nice. Couple more. And then we'll go back to our rotation. So back now to swinging side to side. And a little bit of turn out to the toes. And then the same thing as before, grounding through the feet. Big toe joint, baby toe side of the foot, down into the heel, so that the ground is therefore supporting you. You're using your feet. The arches, the inner arch of the foot is light. You're attempting to keep it away from the floor if you can. I know that's a challenge if you've got low arches or a dropped arch in your foot. So do what you can. But remember, we're trying to create stability. A lot of the time, if we can keep the feet working, then we can create lots of uplift and lightness into the rest of the body without us feeling like we're collapsing into the ground. Okay, keep letting your head turn to look over the shoulders. And if your arms gently pat you on the sides, let that happen. Think of it as a little bit of self-care, a little bit of self-massage, maybe down the sides of the waist or across the back of the hips or the lower back. And use this as a chance to release the arms. Give a little bit of stretch maybe to the triceps and the biceps, depending on whether the arms are forwards or behind you. Good. And then slow it down. Nice. Come back to a central point. Drop your chin towards your chest. Then from this central point, so the chin is in the middle, I want you to sweep your chin across towards one shoulder, but keep the chin close to the chest, and then bring it back to the center, and then sweep it across towards the other shoulder. Now bring it back to the center and lift your head. Now we're side bending the neck, so take one ear across towards one shoulder. Then turn your nose downwards to look towards your thumb. Swoop your chin to the center, keeping your chin close to the chest, and then lift the head up. Let the head side bend over towards the other shoulder. Turn the head so your nose is pointing down towards your thumb. Bring your chin closer to your chest, and then swoop the chin across towards the middle, and then come back up. Good. Now turn to look over one shoulder, turn to look over the other shoulder, and come back to the center. Super stuff. Okay, well done everyone. Come and stand near to the top of your mat, please. All right. So just taking it easy for these first few, especially for the forward folds, making sure you bend your knees a lot. And if you need to modify, do whatever you need to do. If you need to rest, come into down dog or into child's pose. So let's start with the hands down by your sides. Think about the feet again and let your body weight drop into the four corners of your feet. And think about the inner arches lifting away from the floor. Imagine that your middle finger on each hand has some string attached to it, and there's something very heavy that's lengthening the arms down by the sides of your body. The chin is in towards your face, you're gazing forwards, and you're just standing tall for a moment, letting the tailbone lengthen slightly towards the heels. Take a breath in, bring the hands towards the heart, Anjali Mudra, and just breathe in and out. Think about how delicious this opportunity is to practice together, and send out your gratitude towards the universe. Then on an inhalation, take the hands up towards the ceiling and look gently upwards towards your thumbs. Bend your knees as you exhale, come down to a forward fold, a really soft, really easy forward fold. Let the tummy rest on the thighs. Let the chin fall towards the chest and just hang for a moment. Hang down the front of your legs, no pressure, no worrying about how high the sit bones are or how straight the back of the legs are. Just put some length into the back of the spine. Then put the hands onto the shins. Inhale, lengthen the heart forwards. Look along the floor in front of you. Now lift the sit bones because you're in a half forward fold. It might be a bit easier. Then bend the knees, bring the hands to the heart and come up to stand. Hands above the head, look thumbs. Hands come down to the heart and then release them by your sides. Find that heavy weight, draw the chin in, point the tailbone down to the heels. Lift the arches of the feet. Take a breath. And then again, breathe in. Hands come to prayer and then straight up to the ceiling. As you breathe out, hands travel down the center and fold forwards towards Uttanasana. Hands come to the floor, head hangs. Inhale, lift the sit bones, hands to shins, look along the floor in front of you. And then pop the hands down on the floor and step back. Just a nice, easy step back to a high plank position. Point the index fingers forwards, keep the wrists, the shoulders over the wrists, heels pressing back. And just hold this here, making sure that there's a sense of lightness in your body, lifting up the navel, keeping the lower back nice and long. Okay, so let's pop the knees down onto the ground, take the bottom back to stretch out the tops of the feet, soles of the feet. And then floating forwards into Cobra Pose. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the floor. Keep the elbows by your sides and actively move your heart forwards. And then gently lifting up. First downward dog. So gently pedal out the heels, have a little dance of the hips from side to side. Okay, don't be afraid to put some length into the sides of your body. And again, move organically, move in a way that works for you. Feel that if you need to modify, if you need to rest, you need to change what you're doing, it's all okay. Okay, let's take the right foot up to the ceiling, inhaling. Step the right foot forwards towards the top of the mat. Pop the left knee onto the ground, breathe in, hands come up again. All the way to the ceiling, tailbone lengthens downwards. Lift the front of your hip bones. Breathe in again. As you exhale, bow forwards. Good, we'll step back to plank again. So high plank, shoulders over the wrists. Nice. Knees down onto the ground. This time you can sweep backwards like we did before, or you can bring your chin and your chest down in between your hands. Legs go back, heart lifts up, heart moves forwards and up, legs strong, press the feet into the floor. Come down a little bit, lift up to downward dog again. And not much of a pause here, but make sure your position feels good. Inhale, left foot lifted up. Step it through towards your hands. Right knee comes down. Lift up, breathe in. Low lunge, lift the front of the hips, point the tailbone down. Breathe out, bow down, hands, lift the knee. Step forwards, come into a forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Breathe out to fold. All the way up, hands travel up the front of the body, come up with the hands high, and then exhale, hands down through the center, hands down by your sides. Pause, arms heavy, fingertips long, heel, four corners of the feet into the floor, tailbone down, front of the heart lifts. Find your steady again. Good. Absolutely lovely, ladies. Well done. Let's breathe in. Hands come to center and up to the sky. Breathe out, folding all the way down. Halfway lift, breathe in. This time maybe jump back to your plank if you wish to. You can step back, you know that's okay. Those that want to, we will take a chaturanga and then maybe transition into an up dog, or you can take a cobra and then come and meet me in downward dog, everybody. Just press it out here. So make sure the index fingers point forwards. Let the sit bones lift. Allow the heels to move backwards in space behind you. Keep drawing the navel towards the spine and letting the head hang so you can at least look back towards your toes or look towards your navel. Okay. Let's take an inhale, take the right foot up to the sky. Step it through towards your hands. Stay high this time, breathe in, come up. High lunge, press the front of the hips up, but the left heel back. Good, folding forward, step it back. High plank to chaturanga. Upward dog or cobra. Downward dog. Good. Pause in your dog pose. And then inhale, left foot. Step it through. Stay, come up high. Pressing the right heel back, lifting the front of the hips. Feeling the warmth being created. Keep the left knee bent. Breathe in, bow down. Step back, one more time. Plank pose to knees, chin, chest or chaturanga. Upward dog or cobra. Downward dog. All right, so just pause here, gather your breath. If you want to rest in child's pose, you have the opportunity to for a moment. Good, let the head, let the back of the neck feel long. Kind of press into the floor through the hands so you just feel the shoulder blades loose on the back of your body. Okay. So I want you to float your shoulders over your wrists and bend your right knee and see if you can bring your right knee to the back of your right elbow. Then, without losing the closeness, bring your foot to the floor to the outside of your right hand. Very nice. Okay, so you've got your foot wider. I've got my foot off of my mat. Turn your left fingers out slightly and take your right arm up to the ceiling. I love this pose. I love the stretch that this generates in the glutes. So I hope you enjoy this one too. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring the right hand down, turn the left fingers forwards and step the right foot back. Okay, keep the shoulders over the wrists, tummy engaged. Don't lose the back of the heart lifting to the ceiling. Bring the left knee to the left elbow. Good, and then step the foot to the outside of the left hand. Turn the right hand, fingers out slightly, lift the left hand up to the sky. And see if you can find, if you need to adjust slightly to get a better stretch into your left glute, you go for it. You do what you need to do. Lots of you are familiar with these poses. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, bow the hand back down, turn the right fingers forward, step back to plank. You can rest here in child's pose or come on a vinyasa with me, so chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog. Okay, so we're going to, everybody come to down dog now. And then you're going to maybe move your hands just slightly closer together. Look towards where your hands are. Bend your knees, and if you want to, you can step in if you would rather, but I want you to jump your feet to the outsides of your hands or walk them up. Okay, so you're I've got my bottom about the height of my knees. I want you to lift onto your fingertips, and you could stay here. Or if you've got the room, stretch your fingertips forwards and hold this half squat position. Keep the spine nice and long, the tailbone pointing to the back of the mat. You've so got this. Good job. Let's take an inhale, one more, and an exhale. And then inhale, come up to stand, reaching the hands all of the way up. Very nice. The feet are still wide. You can release the hands, bring them out by your sides. Good. And then keep the feet here for a moment, please. Maybe bring the hands to the heart. Find your nice steady breath. And that sense of gratitude and awareness that we began the practice with, can we stay in that place too? Okay, so from here, we're going to inhale, take the hands up. As we exhale, know the feet are wide, so bend the knees as much as you need to and bring the hands back down to the floor. Then let the head hang and lift the sit bones. This might feel quite a nice stretch because the feet are wide and the toes are turned out, a little different, maybe more onto the inner back thigh. Okay, so then gently drop the bottom down and come into a lower squat this time. Bring the elbows to the insides of the knees and lift the chest, looking forwards. Very nice. Keep the chest high, the tailbone down, a little bit more of your weight into your heels if you can. Good job. For those that want to, you're going to step back into a plank. Those that want to come with me, you're going to put your hands onto the floor. You're going to lift your heels off of the ground and maybe your elbows find the back of your knees just for a moment. You can maybe lift your toes off of the floor and then come back into a plank position. Okay, so shoulders over the wrists, everybody toes tucked under, heels back. Okay, we'll take a little vinyasa, or you can come into child's pose to rest. So chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog. Okay, so we're going to take a little pause and a little breath here. And then let's look forwards and let's I'm going to bring my left leg, so I'm going to step to turn to the side slightly. So if your camera is pointing at the top of your mat, make a decision about which side you want to go. It doesn't matter, we're just going to sumo step into a wider position. So I'm going to take my left foot to the top of the mat, excuse me, and then I'm going to spin my toes so that I'm facing you now. So I've got my feet long on the mat. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay, so have your toes have your feet not too far apart, your toes slightly out, and come down into that half squat position again. Very nice. Now I've lost my hands off of the floor. I'm going to come up to stand, but I'm not going to lose the bent knees. I'm going to tuck the tailbone down slightly. I'm going to keep the tummy engaged, legs nice and firm. Maybe the hands are going to be here in front of the heart. Maybe the hands are going to be on the hips. I want you to lower down and lift up. Lower down, lift up. 3 more. Coming down and lifting up. Well done. 2 more, a little bit lower. Keep the chest high, tummy engaged. Last one, well done. Now then, doesn't matter which way you're going to turn, but turn your toes towards the top end of your mat. Bend this knee, lift up your back heel. Okay, so for me, I think I'm mirroring you, so this would look like my left leg, this is looking like my right, and I want you to turn your body and come up into a balancing warrior position from your lunge. Does that make sense? Okay, so breathe in here. As you breathe out, bring the hands to the heart and spin yourself back into your goddess position. Then turning the other toes out, lifting up the back heel so you can spin on the ball of the foot and coming into balancing warrior facing the back of your mat. Okay, coming back, spinning the heel down, coming back into your goddess squat. Very nice. spinning the toes towards the top of the mat again, lifting up the heel, turning so the hips face forwards, hands are going to come up. Okay, breathe in here. As you breathe out, bring the hands to the heart and start to straighten the front leg. I know the back heel is off the floor, so take care if you feel wobbly. Walk your feet to the long edges of the mat if that's the case. Start to fold forwards. And if you can, bring your hands out in front of you along your mat. Okay, so hold it here, hold your steady. And then bending the front knee, breathe in, come back up into that balancing warrior position. Very nice. Now the hands come to the heart. Let's do the same in the other direction. So spin on the feet, come back into that goddess position, and then turn the toes to the back of the mat, spin up the back heel, coming up, balancing warrior. Then front leg straightens. See if you can float all the way down with the arms long. If it's too strong, keep them at your heart. Look down at your front toes. Good. Then bend the front knee, inhale, coming up. Spinning on the heels, hands come to the heart, back to your goddess. Good. Let's turn to face the top of your mat. So you've got the idea of this. We're going to be coming back to it. So balancing warrior, and then hands come down. Let's step it back so you're all into a plank position now. Well done. Either vinyasa it out or rest in child's pose. So come with me if you're coming up into upward dog and then downward dog. All right, so everybody, just pause it out in your downward dog for a moment. Just gather your breath. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. And you're still able to breathe, but you've got a nice little bit of a sweat going on. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. So float the shoulders over the wrists, bring the knee under the chest, and step forwards. Again, you want to be so that you're going to turn to the side. So step your foot forward, same as we did before. Okay, coming all of the way up, breathing in, balancing warrior, back to the center for goddess squat, hands at the heart. Turning out the other way, lifting hands up, balancing warrior. Back to the center for your goddess squat, come down lower this time. Good, spin on the heels, lift the back heel up. And then this time we're gonna float forwards, reach, but keep the front knee bent. Keep bending it and pressing the left heel back. Now as you breathe in, you're going to lift your hands and your chest and drop your back knee towards the floor. Then you're coming back up and reaching forwards. Notice the front leg stays bent. The back knee bends, it almost touches the floor. You lift up, breathe in, and then breathe out, fold forwards. One more time, breathe in. Good. And then keep this bend to the knee. See if you can fold forwards and begin to float the back leg off the floor, like you're going to mirror the front leg, but don't put the foot on the floor just yet. Bring the knees together and then put the foot down. Come into Utkatasana, front leg burning, breathe in, and then fold forwards, breathe out. Good, hanging at Uttanasana. Whatever was your front leg, take your body weight into the opposite foot so that you can free now your front leg out behind you and lift it up. Reach it up to the sky. And then bending the standing knee, bending the floating leg, and bringing the bent knee towards the outer calf or outer ankle. Then coming up, breathing in, and breathe it out, coming down. And again, breathe in, coming up, and breathe out, coming down. Good, reach it up again, reach, reach, reach. Very nice, stretch it back, and then step back. Good job, you're in a high lunge, fingertips on the floor. Step back to plank. Either rest it out into a child's pose or down dog, or come on the vinyasa with me. Upward dog or cobra, downward dog. Very nice. Just pause and breathe. And let your legs, your thighs recalibrate. Very good. Look forwards to where your hands are. Step your hands a tiny bit closer together. Engage your tummy muscles and lightly jump your feet to the outside of your hands. Come down into that squat now, elbows to the insides of the knees. Lift the chest, look forwards. Good. Now lift the heels off of the floor. Very nice. And then come up to stand. Don't put the heels on the ground. Good. Now lower the heels down, hands to the heart. Very nice. Good job. Okay, take a breath in. Breathe in, hands come up. Breathe out, folding all the way down. Notice the feet are still out again, so it makes it feel just a little bit nice, a little bit different. Okay, you can float your body weight forwards, you can lift your heels off of the floor, and maybe you feel like jumping, maybe it's a stepping back, but come into a plank position. Very good. Okay, just pause it here for a moment, hold it, let's build some upper body strength. Good job. Okay, so pop your knees down onto the floor, keep your toes tucked under, walk your hands back towards your knees. Breathe in and lift your hands up. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Fan the glutes. Squeeze the buttocks and lean back a little bit. Good. Come back up. 2 more. Breathing as you go. Good. Breathe in and out. Very nice. Bowing the hands back down to the ground, giving the back a little bit of a round out, tucking the toes under, coming into plank. And then you need to step your front foot towards the top of the mat. So same lunge position that we had before. Coming into balancing warrior. And then turning to your goddess pose, hands at the heart, toes pointing out, knees bent. Good, so we're back here again. Okay, let's do the other leg, the other side. So turn the toes out, spin on the ball of the foot, breathe the hands up to the ceiling. Fold forwards, keeping the front knee bent, back leg straight here. Then as you breathe in, lift the hands, drop the back knee almost to the floor. Forwards over the front thigh, reaching. And then up, breathe in, breathe out, reach. Press the heel back. Breathe in and out. Good job, last one. Very nice. Now come forwards, reaching the fingertips far forward. See if you can float the back leg off of the floor. Bring the knees together, keep the back leg off of the ground, bottom low. And then drop the foot next to the other one and stand up, Utkatasana. Reach, breathe. Good, breathe in, breathe out, fall down. Head hangs to the ground. Good, soften the knees. Body weight into the other leg this time. For me, it's my left foot. So I'm now going to take my right foot up to the ceiling, standing splits. As I breathe out, bending the knee, bringing the opposite leg round behind the calf. Breathe in, stretch it up. Breathe out, bending the knee. Good, one more time. Breathe in. And then breathe out, bring that knee down. Lovely. Reach up the back foot all the way to the ceiling. Bend your standing leg and drop the foot all the way to the floor behind you. Very nice. Plant the hands, step back. Either rest or vinyasa, chaturanga, upward dog, and then cobra. I know you're facing the wrong way, it's all going to be fine. So whichever foot you need to step forward so you can turn into your goddess pose. Step your foot forwards for a balancing warrior. So coming up, breathe in. And then turning back to the center. So we're all back to where we began. Very nice. Now let's just see. Can we come down a little bit lower? How are we getting? How are we feeling? Can we lift the toes, sorry, the heels, and drop them down? Lift the heels and drop them. And again, lift the heels, get the bottom a little bit lower if you can. And then coming back, and the legs wobbly, give them a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a rock. Okay, drop the heels, make sure, and then turn the toes so that they are forwards, and tiny little turn of the toes in. Hinge at the hips, coming down into a forward fold, and letting the head hang. So we're starting to bring just a little bit of quiet back into our practice after working hard. Maybe walk the hands, if you've got space, walk the hands a little way forward so you can be in a wide-legged down dog variation. So pressing the thighs back, nice big stretch to the back of the legs. And then I'd like you to bring the hands under the face. We'll take a little bit of a twist. So breathe in, take one arm up to the ceiling, look up at your thumb. Breathe out, bring the hand down. Other side, breathe in. Breathe out, lower the hand. Go side to side again, breathe in. And out. Last one, breathe in. And out. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to keep the hands on the floor. You're going to walk them round to the top end of your mat. So spin on your toes and your heel if you need to. Okay, very nice. When you're ready, dropping the back knee to the floor. Good. Seeing if you can just stretch out the front of the hip one last time. So you're lunging a little bit more deeply. Very good. And then gently stepping the front foot back and swapping feet. So stepping the other foot forwards, taking a little bit of a deeper lunge so you feel the front of the hip getting a bit of a stretch here. Good. And then we're going to come into a very, very brief pigeon pose just to stretch out this glute and the back quads. So I want you to walk your front foot across to the opposite side of the mat. Bring the knee down onto the floor, and you can move the other leg out of the way if you need to. If you need to bring the heel a bit closer to your body, then go for it. And see if you can straighten the right leg, or sorry, the back leg out behind you. So you're bringing the top of the thigh onto the floor. Don't worry if this hip lifts off of the ground. We're not going to be here long, so stretch down. We're just treating this as a little cool down stretch for these big muscle groups that we've worked today. Okay, so just pause, take another breath here. We're going to stay in the pigeon position. If this is uncomfortable for you, lie on your back and take a figure of 4 with your legs instead. For those that want a bit of a quad stretch, lift up slightly, lean forward still, but then bending the back leg, maybe you can reach back for the foot and draw the heel towards your bottom, just to give the quads a bit of a stretch. Okay, take a breath here. Well done. And then gently release. And we're going to tuck the back toes under, walk the knee in, so we can slide the leg, the front leg backwards. Then bring the other knee forward, so do the opposite side. Sliding the back leg back behind you, coming into pigeon, or if you need to, lying on your back, hugging your knee in towards your chest. If you want to come down for a moment, just treat this as a nice opportunity to get a little bit deeper into those glute muscles. This is a pose we're going to come back to tonight. So if you're coming to yin at 8:30, then this is one that we're going to be looking at later. So take another breath here. Welcome to stay here if you want to, or you can start to bend the back knee, lifting yourself up, reaching back for the foot if you like, and then drawing the heel towards the bottom, because it really gets quite juicy into the quads, which is really nice. Just taking another breath here. Good. And then gently releasing. Well done. Okay.
So I'd like you to slide your front leg back, tuck under both toes, come into downward dog. This is your last down dog. Pressing backwards through the heels, back and up through the sit bones. Arms nice and long. Breath coming in easy. Just find this last stretch for your hamstrings. Good job. And then floating your knees down onto the ground. Sitting back onto your heels if you can. Taking your arms out in front of you. Bend the elbows. Take the right on top of the left. And just gently lift the elbows up. Give the shoulders a bit of a stretch. Good job. And then gently release. Just hang them by your sides. And then we'll take the left on top of the right. Wrap the arms. Lift them up a little bit. Find the stretch which feels best for you, what your body needs. Good. And then release. Swing it out. Maybe take the hands behind if you can. Puff the chest up. Drop the chin towards the chest. Straighten the arms. If you want to lift the arms off of the back body, go for it, but you don't have to. If you can bring the heels of the hands together, go for it. But again, you don't have to. Keep lifting the breastbone, but bringing the chin towards the chest. Really nice stretch for the back of the neck, the top of the shoulders, as well as the chest. Keep the tailbone lengthening towards the ground. Very good. And then gently release. Release the hands. Take the knees a little bit wider apart. I've still got my big toes together. And we're just going to rest down into child's pose just for a couple of moments. If you want to take your arms forward, you can. If you want to have a pillow under your head, you can. And if you'd like to perhaps stay upright, that's always available too. So if you want to stay in Virasana, and just take some breath that way. For those that just need to press the pause button, just however briefly, but necessarily, before the rest of the day begins, before we get involved with whatever is going to be absorbing our attention and our care and our energy. So just for these next few breaths, think about retaining as much of this positivity and this breath that you've given yourself through your yoga practice this morning. Container it all within yourself. Make sure you hold it on safe so that it can nourish you through the rest of your day. Keep breathing into the back of your body, inflating the back of the rib cage, back of the heart, back of the shoulder blades. As you breathe out, the tailbone sinks that little bit more deeply. The hips become that little bit more heavy. And we keep the breath smooth and steady, just how we want it to remain throughout the day. Continual, comforting, reassuring. Breathing in and out. Okay. So then when you're ready, let's walk the hands in towards your body and lift yourself up gently. Maybe come to sit in a kneeling position. If kneeling is not for you, sit in another way. Good job. We'll finish the practice together. So let's take the fingertips to the floor. Breathing in and scooping the arms wide. Palms come together above your head. And then exhale, hands come down and they rest in front of your heart. You close your eyes and you just take one more breath to seal your practice in. Think about those things you have to feel grateful for at the start of this beautiful day. Taking another breath, opening your eyes. Well done. Namaste to you all and have a super excellent day. Excellent, well done.